Hello, everyone. August 29th, 2020. It's exactly 30 days ago that I started this channel with the Galactic Federation of Light, beaming through their messages and their energy and their love. It's been such a joyous 30 days with all of you. Thank you, everyone who's watching and who's subscribing and who's sharing these messages. The Galactic Federation of Light is absolutely thrilled to be making these connections with you directly. And I am so honored and thrilled to be bringing their messages forward to you. Just a quick check-in on, this is Shawna L. Francis, if I didn't say that already. I'm feeling pretty altered today in terms of just being, my energy's really flowing today. I'm feeling absolute love from my team, from our guides. My heart feels like it might burst. My third eye is tingling. I'm feeling very connected, feeling kind of altered state of consciousness. I've been meditating probably for, 20, 25 minutes before even just starting this video. So that's kind of where I'm at energetically. Please take a moment to check in with yourself. Where are you at energetically? How are you feeling? What's your energy doing? Connect to your energy, guys. You got to do this. So I had the absolute pleasure of having my first one-on-one sessions with a couple of you yesterday. So amazing. And I feel like we're all just making new friends, right? We're finding each other through the crazy, through the chaos, like-minded folks who may be going through similar things with an awakening process, with this ascension, trying to figure out what the hell is going on here. I'm still doing that. It's been about 2 years for me on my journey. And it's not easy, guys. It's really not easy. It's important to make these connections with people. Please reach out to me, shawnalfrancis.com/contact. It's kind of my preferred way that you reach out with personal questions, with if you want to get together for a one-on-one. My website has a lot of information about awakening, about the ascension, about these higher beings of light who are here with us all now, coming to our aid during this massively important time for all of us. So with that, I wanted to take a moment to really talk more about living a life in lockstep with your higher self and your guides. I think I'm kind of getting there. It's been 2 years, so please be patient with yourselves. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to really live this every day. So in the beginning, when I started really connecting with consciousness outside of my own kind of waking consciousness, I was journaling a lot. I was meditating a lot. I was getting a lot of encouragement from my guides early on. I have a very big mission on this life, in this life, I should say, and I talked about that yesterday. It's a doozy, right? And not all of your missions are going to be quite as crazy as mine. They're going to be different, probably. So your journey is going to be unique in terms of your awakening and your connection. But I do really think it's important because we're going into new territory here. And we can use all the help we can get, right? I mean, I know I can. Early on, this has been, 1.5, 2 years ago, I was meditating almost 2 hours a day. My energy would flare up at, say, 5 in the morning. And I knew that was my sign to get up. I would get up. I would go into my living room, try not to wake my husband, go into my living room, and I would sit and meditate for a couple of hours. And then I would be done, and then I would start my day job at like 8 in the morning. And I did this every day for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I had the help of my guides in really making this, like really committing to this. And so with that meditation that I was doing, so you've got to remember, I had already established a direct link with my spirit guide, my personal spirit guide. His name was Micah. Micah and I were on our 20th life together. And I speak about him in past tense because he actually transitioned away from me. And that was only after maybe 8 or 10 weeks of he and I getting to know each other. He actually transitioned away, and I felt it like a death. I felt it so strong. But the deal with that is he left so that I could evolve and work with Archangel Metatron. So it's kind of like an evolution here. I learned what I could from Micah in this lifetime, and now Archangel Metatron came in to help get me to the next level and basically where I'm at today. So back to the meditation and connecting with these guides. So I kind of started that. I was doing a lot of journaling, a lot of automatic writing. Whatever, I'd ask questions, I'd ask Micah a question, I would get quiet, and I would just write down whatever came to mind. And it's tricky because it feels like it's just you. Like, oh, that's my imagination. Of course, and these answers make perfect sense. Like, it's a trip. So just get used to that idea. Like, it kind of feels like you, it feels like your imagination. But the deal is, when you go back to that later and you reread that, you're like, wow, there's some insight there that I didn't have before I asked that question. And then you're tuning into something bigger than yourself, at least your everyday waking 3D self. So just get over that fact that it just seems like it's your imagination, because I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. All right, so I had done a lot of that. So back to the meditation. Getting quiet, getting centered, the idea is that you're really getting to this thing called the 0 point, your still point, and it will take me half hour sometimes to stop the mind chatter, a good half hour. But they kind of, whatever was going on in my mind would kind of subside after a while, and they would still kind of come up. But after 20, 30 minutes, maybe that's 5 minutes for you, maybe it's an hour or two, I don't know. It really depends on you. But I finally like, oh, I feel quiet and this feels so good. And then some interesting things would start to happen. So I actually was able to talk with Ra. So, and I don't talk about this much in public at all. It's in my book, but, Ra, the Law of One, that same Ra, very famously, Ra came through with the Law of One through a woman by the name of Carla back in this was the 70s, I believe. If you haven't read any of the Law of One materials, I highly recommend that you do it. So as I was reading the Law of One, I got this big energy like woo, 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 woo. So this is why it's so important for you to be in touch with your energy, guys, because this is Spirit's way of getting your attention all the time. This always happens. If you're not in touch with your energy, find somebody who's a Reiki master. I'm a Reiki master. I don't practice it professionally, but I'm in touch with my energy. I get what this feels like. If you are not sure, like, find a Reiki master, have a Reiki session, really start to, ask your guides to help show you what energy feels like, what that's like to connect with your energy. But this is undeniable woo, woo, woo. And then I was hearing Ra, 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 Ra. And, I'm laying in bed and I'm reading this PDF of this material and I'm like, wow. So I put it down. I'm like, okay, hello. So it feels like imagination. It would have been easy for me to just, whatever that is, and shove it away and ignore it. But don't do that when this happens to you. And reading of books, of channeled material has helped me get in touch with higher dimensional beings many times. So pay attention to that. You're just reading along and all of a sudden your energy changes. And what is that? Okay. And at that point, you may be able to have a dialogue with whichever entity's wanting to come through and talk with you. Okay. So back to the meditation. Ra had said, let your imagination run wild. Let your mind, your creativity take all the twists and turns it wants to take. Just let your imagination go. And in these meditations, I was doing this. And this is how I learned about a lifetime that I had with John the Baptist back at the time of Jesus. I know. I mean, I can't even make this stuff up. I have a lot of details in my book about John the Baptist and this lifetime we shared. But this all came to me through meditation. and through the allowing. So you kind of do a very traditional meditation where you're getting very quiet, getting very still. And then it's setting an intention, because Metatron during my waking state had said, you're going to write a new book and it's going to be about John the Baptist, and it's going to be a big book. It's going to be epic in nature. So I knew I would be connecting with John the Baptist, and I had checked with a psychic friend just to make sure I wasn't, going crazy, because back then I thought everything was crazy and I was really trying to come to terms with this. So learning about John the Baptist, he came through, and we would just go through these amazing scenes together and these experiences together. And he was teaching me and helping me remember who I am and what I'm doing here. And as soon as I'd get out of that meditation, I'd write it all down, all word for word, like everything that he said, everything I said. And even if I couldn't remember something, because you're in an altered kind of a trance, right? You are in an altered state of consciousness when you are meditating. But I wrote everything down. And I just, and I covet this information, and it did become this book. So again, let your imaginations run wild. Write down everything you're experiencing. This is how I connected to one of my guides early on by the name of Roykolva. Roykolva came through looking very traditional alien with a big head and the big eyes and the little mouth, the little nose, and you've got to learn not to be afraid of these experiences, but wow, be excited and welcoming and tune into your energy around this. So it's like, hello, you've come into my very quiet space here. I'm not making myself think of you. I wasn't even thinking about anything, but here comes this being into my awareness, guys, into my awareness, and I welcome him in, and we start talking. So I guess this is kind of next level stuff in terms of connecting with your guides. Again, I'm getting to these heart palpitations. They're just, my team's so excited. And I hate to say my team, I really feel like it's our guides. Our guides are so excited to be getting this recognition and to be finally having folks wake up, continue to wake up, and to be aware of all this love and light that is here right now. And they're just dying to help us. They really are. But remember, you've got free will. So set an intention before your meditations or before you go to bed. A lot of people are dreaming about these guides. But I hope that all made sense. Kind of rambling on. I'm, 12 and a half minutes in. There's so much more I want to talk about, but I think we're going to get to a couple of questions here. I've got quite a few questions piling up, and I've been talking a lot, so I'll take a little bit of extra time to just kind of get centered here, and we'll ask a couple of questions, all right? We'll see what the Galactic Federation of Light has to say. And also just for you who's watching, when I get to a certain point and I'm kind of ready, I kind of just energetically check in with my team, and I do hear audibly, we're ready to go when you are. And they just help me be ready to start channeling them. So I just got that kind of A-okay to go. Oh goodness. Yep. This is fun, huh? All right. I have a question. Just generally, somebody has asked about COVID. We actually haven't talked about COVID. So does the Galactic Federation of Light have anything to say about our pandemic? So it's pretty wide open. Where is it headed? I guess anything you want to say. I won't lead it, but what do you have to say about the virus and our pandemic, COVID? Yes, Shawna, and thank you everybody who is watching and listening to this transmission. Your COVID, your pandemic happening now, it may be here for a while. There's just an amazing amount of fear and chaos around this pandemic, still around the world. And there are those on Earth who would really like to continue to maintain this level of fear and control over you. So they're not going to let this die down anytime soon. They've seen the power that this virus has had over the population, and more so the power that they've been able to wield by using this virus as a means to an end. So this may be hard for many of you to accept, that there would be those in leadership positions in the forefront and also very much hidden from you who would take this opportunity to exploit your fears for their own gain, but this is what's happening. And this is what we've been saying for a while. You have a choice here to buy into that paradigm or not. This does not mean that the virus isn't dangerous. This does not mean that you shouldn't wear a mask and protect yourselves and others from spreading this virus. But this does not also mean that you have to be in fear and isolation and in judgment. Making irrational decisions based on an overinflated fear of the threat of this virus. You are in control, my dears. We would not recommend that you be overly concerned with the day-to-day happenings around this pandemic. As long as you are also buying into the thought process of, gosh, these guys are keeping me down. They are taking away my rights. They are enslaving me with this pandemic. They're forcing me to stay home. They're forcing me to wear a mask. They've closed all my favorite places. I can't travel. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm so mad. So you're buying into another line of fear here and another line of anger that really will not serve your higher good. How do you take advantage of this time to go more inward, to take a few deep breaths, to take stock of what's going on within you? Not just around you, but within you. Remember, right now, my friends, we are asking you to go on an inward journey of discovery. Discovery of your sovereignty, discovery of your light, discovery that you are love at your core, discovery that you have free will and you have choice. Please just don't get all wrapped up and concerned with all the different narratives that are going on around this virus right now. Take this opportunity to work on yourselves. Take this opportunity to relax. Take this opportunity to get to know yourselves better. Maybe this virus was a catalyst to help you get in touch with your energy, your emotions. How many of you were just going on day by day by day through your routines, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, over and over, week by week, month by month, year by year? How many of you now were forced, seemingly forced, to stop that routine and to try something different? Was this a travesty, or is this an opportunity? Do you want to choose to see this as an opportunity for self-growth, for understanding a little bit more about how you're feeling, not about what you're doing, your routine, what you have, the bills you're paying, but going a little deeper and connecting with something larger than that routine? My friends, there is so much more to life. So much more to your existence. Can you see this as a blessing? Can you choose to embrace the opportunity that this pandemic is providing you to reassess, reevaluate, step outside of your life and take a look in? How are things going? What would you like to change? What would you like to manifest in your world? And it's not so much what would you like to manifest as much as it is how do you want to be in this world? How do you want to experience yourself? What kind of a reality do you want to create for yourselves? My beautiful ones, this is an opportunity to take a deep breath and look at that very seriously. What a beautiful opportunity to do this. What's your heart telling you, not your head? What's your heart saying? What's your heart saying? What a beautiful time to get in touch with your heart. And we thank you for the question. Thank you, team. Beautiful. I love it. Oh, boy. One more. We're going a little long, it seems, here. Oh, goodness. Speaking of the heart and getting in touch with the heart, maybe do you have a simple kind of step-by-step set of instructions or recommendations for us to get out of our head and more into our hearts? So can we just make it almost like real simple? Maybe not so much, but we'll give this a try. Yes, my darlings. It's so easy for you humans to want to really analyze things. Make me a bulleted list. Tell me the best way to do this. We'd love to show you the way, but remember, this may be different for each one of you. There is no wrong or right way to do this. And we ask that you strive to not overthink it, overanalyze it, or overcomplicate it. Yes, and as Shawna, I can relate to this. I do this way too much, and I'm still learning how to do this. All right. You are already absolutely connected to your heart. You are your heart. You are love. This is the seat of your soul. But here come in all these thoughts. All these reasons why you need to think about things that make it so that it's harder to connect with your heart and to be in your heart, to be one with your heart. But this is truly who you are. It's just very easy to forget that with this type of existence that you're living here in a 3D body on Earth. It's a very dense plane. And we'd also say, remember that your thoughts, they are important. Your ego is important. This is how we maneuver in this lifetime. So of course you're going to have thoughts. Thoughts are not necessarily evil. Maybe where you could start is within your mind, what you would associate as your thoughts, your intellect, your mind. You set an intention. I'm going to connect with my heart fully right now. I am connected to my heart fully right now in this moment. I know myself as being of love, radiating out from my heart. And just sit with that. And at first, for some of you, this may feel very vulnerable. How many of you have erected some kind of a shell or a shield around your heart because you have the perception that your heart has been hurt or broken? You may be associating your heart with something of pain, sorrow, regret, anger. There may be all sorts of things that you blame your heart for. Well, if I wouldn't have been so soft, if I wouldn't have been so giving, if I wouldn't have let that person do this to me, then this wouldn't have happened. We actually blame our hearts for a lot of things that your heart's really not responsible for. But remember too, we have said, let's shine a light into the dark places. If you have associated your heart with being a place of darkness, a place of hurt, now would be a beautiful time to connect with that hurt, to connect with those feelings, to make your heart a priority. Finally, take that time to hear your heart. What is your heart asking for? What does your heart need right now? So intellectually, you could begin there, having a dialogue with your heart. We put a lot of importance on our heart, whether we know it or not. Subconsciously, we know that the heart is the core of us. There are facets of your beingness that already know this. You've just buried it or forgotten. You've lost that connection to your heart. So maybe for some of you, there's a sharing of the heart and the mind, the heart and the head, and you're working together right now to recreate that connection to your heart, to reestablish that connection with your heart. Maybe that's the transition that you need that will make that a reality for you. But my friends, it is important. It's so important for you to raise your level of awareness, your vibration, your consciousness, to get to higher dimensional states of being. It's going to come from here. And we thank you for the question. Thank Thank you, Galactic Federation of Light. My lovelies, if you need to sit with this for a while and continue to let these energies integrate, and the words integrate, please do so. Give yourself another 10 minutes or an hour or whatever to just sit here with these messages and let that really integrate. I wish you all the best.